welcome to episode 24 of the Press Forward podcast. I'm Nathan Wrigley, and I'd like to thank you for joining us again. And if this is your first time, I hope that you find it useful. If you want to make listening to this podcast a regular thing, you can subscribe to us on your favourite podcast player. And this can be done by going to wpmop.org/podcast-feed. Today, we're going to be talking to Sujay Pawar about how he scaled his plugin and theme business, but before that, a little bit of housekeeping. The Press Forward podcast is created by WPMU. We're a non-profit working in the WordPress space to help you, your colleagues, anyone in fact. The work is just beginning, and today I want to ask you for your help. We're running a new campaign called #NeverGiveUp. You see, the services that WPMU provides are incredibly valuable. They help and support many people, but they come at a cost. We know that our community needs the support that we provide because it's being requested frequently. But these services, as I say, come at a cost. It cannot be done for free. Thanks to the likes of Geeks and WPMU Dev, we've been able to get to where we are now. But if WPMU is to continue offering support, we need more financial help. You can head to wpmop.org/NGU, which is short for Never Give Up, to find out more about exactly what an organisation like WPMU costs to maintain. From there, you might like to head over to wpmop.org/donate and donate something yourself. It doesn't need to be a lot. Just a few dollars will help us provide phone support or keep our online support community open. So please help us so that we can continue to support the WordPress community. Those URLs again? wpmop.org/NGU, short for Never Give Up, and wpmop.org/donate. Thank you. The Press Forward podcast is brought to you today by Geeks. Geeks offers an awesome managed web hosting platform that's built for speed, security, and scalability, whilst being environmentally friendly. Enjoy a better web hosting experience for your WordPress website, backed by 24/7 expert support. And we do thank Geeks for helping us to put on the Press Forward podcast. Today we hear from Sujay Pawar. He's a WordPress business owner based in India. You might well have heard of some of his company's products because Brainstorm Force are the folks behind the Astra theme and Schema Pro, Ultimate add-ons for Elementor, and many more. We have a wide-ranging chat covering subjects such as how he got started with WordPress and how he managed to grow his company and keep his team happy at the same time. As I say, Sujay lives in India, and the conversation also covers how businesses in India do things slightly differently from other parts of the world, and this, for me, was really fascinating. But let's start by asking Sujay to introduce himself.
Hi, my name is Sujay. I am a co-founder of Brainstorm Force. We develop WordPress products. Astra is a recently popular products that we developed and launched. Other products of ours include Ultimate add-ons for various page builders, Convert Pro, Schema Pro, Cart Flows. We are a distributed team. Most of our team is in India, but we have few team members who are distributed all across the world. We are about 40 to 50 people company, and we have been in the business for about 10 years.
I wanted to know about the journey that Sujay had been on over the past decade or so. I'm sure that many of you have started your own business or perhaps worked in a startup, and there can be many struggles along the way. Some businesses fail, others keep grinding it out until they start to become profitable, whilst a few meet their goals very quickly.
Well, I started this business when I was in the college. I was in the first year of the college. I just wanted to do a college project for my third year, and I was thinking that I would do something different from my friends. So I thought I would make a website and I would maybe do some experiments with the SEO, rank it in the Google, which SEO was a booming industry back then. And I was learning about it through Google and other places. So I thought that would make a great college project. I would rank a website. So that's how my journey started. I learned a bit of web design. We had no web design in our college syllabus or something like that. So I started with Joomla. I was trying to hand code when I found that there are frameworks or CMSs. So I stumbled upon Joomla. I tried to develop a website. I tried to rank it. So that's how I got started. And in the process, I learned about freelance websites. So all this was fun. I was introduced to freelancing just while I was having fun. I started taking small projects like I will make like you see Fiverr gigs these days. So I will make a website for $50 or something like that. And those were really massive projects, which would take like a couple of months or so. But I was having a lot of fun. So I knew I never really wanted to get in the business. All this was accident. I got serious in the business when I found my co-founder of Brainstorm Force, who was trying to set up a business. And here I was just having fun freelancing. He was from a business family, so he knew a bit of business, how to hire people, how to structure business and stuff like that. And I was freelancing here, so I got introduced to him. I started going to his office for the free internet because internet was very, very expensive in back those days in India. Started helping him in his business, and eventually he hired me as his partner. So that's how I got started.
So, obviously, this is a podcast which is concerned with the WordPress community. And so I wanted to know from Sujay how he had found WordPress.
We were not a web design company. We were not Joomla experts. Joomla was just something that we found, and we developed few websites with Joomla. But our main business was online, helping people with their online marketing, like SEO and all that stuff. A lot of customers who wanted their websites optimized, most of our customers who had a website were already using WordPress. So that's how we got introduced to WordPress. We had to do a lot of changes in their websites. So we learned WordPress, its code, its file structure and everything. So yeah, that's how we got introduced to WordPress.
So Brainstorm Force is now a fairly large business with many employees. If you're an agency owner, you may have experienced growth like this, but I'd suggest it's not the norm. Growing to this size takes a mixture of skills and determination, and so I asked Sujay to describe the journey to me.
I was in a freelancing for a bit of time when I joined this company. So we had a little bit of workflow when we got into the real business. I had a little bit of reputation. I had some referrals. So that helped, but that wasn't sufficient at all to grow the business. So I remember in my first year, I was trying to visit different businesses, going doors to doors and asking if they would like a website, if they would like to promote their website. I remember calling a lot of people just here in India locally, to hotels, to some colleges, to some educational institutes, trying to get some business. So I remember those days.
So we're going back more than a decade. I'm based in the UK, and I think it's fair to say that almost all businesses by this point had decided that having a website was something that they needed to have. It was just a case of which platform and in what style. Perhaps this was the case in India too.
Converting those people wasn't easy at all for us because we had no business experience. My co-founder as well as myself, we started this right out of the college. It was 2009, and if you remember, it was global recession and there were no jobs at that time. So instead of going for jobs, we decided that let's do our own thing. We will start our own company and we'll hustle, we'll figure it out. So we had no sales experience, we had no processes, everything was like, as we figured it out. So it was not easy to convert the people. So when we started Brainstorm, we never wanted to do work for ourselves. I was doing work for myself when I was freelancing. So the reason we started this company was to structure our business and grow the business. So hiring people and taking more work and setting up processes was always part of the plan. Yeah, I mean, even before we had a lot of work, we were into hiring. We were interviewing people. We were trying to learn the recruitment. We were trying to hire our friends who were looking for jobs. That was always a part of the plan. Balancing that, like hiring people and getting enough clients, was a bit of difficult, but it was a plan and we always knew that we would scale this business.
Brainstorm Force is known to me at least, not as a website building agency, but as a company that creates and sells plugins and themes. No doubt you've heard of many of their products. Sujay hasn't mentioned that part of the business yet, and so I wondered if building plugins was a conscious business decision, or perhaps it was more of an accident.
It was absolutely accident. So we were in SEO business. Google had recently come up with, back in 2012, Google came up with something called rich snippets and schema markup. And there were no plugins or solutions out there which could easily help people to implement the schema in their websites. We wanted to implement schema and schema markup on our customer's website. We found no solution. So we developed that plugin. We launched it for free on the WordPress repository. It got really popular. It got mentions from many big publications, many blogs, and that gave us a bit of confidence. It grew by itself, and since we came from the little bit of marketing background where we could do SEO and all that stuff, we were able to grow that as well. We created pages on our website. We created a lot of guides for people to help them understand how to implement schema markup and all that. And I, being from a little bit of business perspective, I knew how to scale the plugin, how to help people, how to get followers and stuff like that. So that helped a bit as well. It wasn't just like we launched a plugin and then it grew by itself. There was a bit of work before it got, popular and before we could continue with our WordPress products journey. This first plugin of ours, we gave it away on WordPress repository and it got popular. So we got huge confidence that we can launch a plugin and we can make it successful. So the second plugin that we developed, which was an accident once again, it wasn't a plan. We have a very popular plugin called Ultimate Add-ons for Visual Composer. It was a very popular plugin in those days. It was the only page builder and it was popular. So a lot of our clients were using it, but it was very limiting. It did not have many features. So we found that we could extend the plugin. We wrote little bit of code and tried to send the code to the author of that plugin saying, hey, here's the code. You can add some more features that we have developed for you. If you'd like, we would be happy to send you the code. So that was the story. But he was kind enough. He said, why don't you just launch it as an add-on for Visual Composer instead of just giving it away for me? So that's our first commercial product came. We launched it on the Envato Marketplace on Code Canyon. And again, since there was already an audience, a lot of people were already using Visual Composer. They needed something like that. And the author of Visual Composer promoted it. It got, again, very popular on the Envato Marketplace. In the first week itself, it sold more than 150 copies. And then, so that's how we got into commercial product business.
So Sujay did not intend for this plugin to be a commercial success, but it was. It gave him and his team valuable experience of creating and successfully selling a product. It also allowed them to grow the team and transition it from a services business into a products business.
So we already had a very successful agency business. We were developing stuff for our clients like WordPress websites, helping them with the marketing and those kind of services. So we already had a staff. So me and my partner decided that he will take care of our services business and I will explore the products area. So I scaled team a bit for support, for developing future features in the plugin. And that's how we slowly transitioned into product business. So now we are about 5% services and 95% products business.
With a growing team, there's an obvious need to hire more staff. I was interested to know if the Brainstorm Force team try to hire the best talent from all over the world, or if they look closer to home.
So it depends on the profile. For support, we are trying to cover all time zones. So we are hiring globally for support profiles. For developers, we are trying to just hire locally because that's our culture is. Most of our development team is in India. So when we hire locally, it's easier to communicate. For designers, it's not very easy to find good designers in India. So again, we are trying to hire from other parts of the world. It depends on the skill and department where the person would join. Hiring is still something we struggle with. There is no fixed or there is no a formula that we apply and we hire people. So about this 50 people, about 12 to 13 people are with us for more than 5 years. And rest of the people, join us. Some people live in a year, some people live in 2 years, some people live in 3 years for other prospects. But something that we still struggle with hiring, what I have learned is you just got to give someone a try. Cannot just by interviewing him, you cannot think that he is the perfect one. So I remember some of our team members who are really core part of our team. I wasn't impressed at all with them when I interviewed them, but I gave them a chance and they turned out to be much better ones than the other ones, which I thought are really great hires who joined us and then they turned up something different than I thought. So you got to give a try. You got to live for mistakes. That is the part with hiring.
So although some of the team are distributed all over the world, many of them live in India. So I wanted to know more about this. What kind of office setup does the company have?
We have our office in Pune, which is in the western part of India. Moving is not common in India like in Western world. So most of the people in India, they die where they were born. So for me, I grew up in a very nearby area. I came to Pune for my higher studies and I decided to settle my business here. And thankfully, Pune is called like Silicon Valley of India. So that was an accident, but thankfully we are in Pune and we got into the IT business, and IT talent is very common to find in Pune, in my area.
Wherever I seem to look online these days, I see people from India creating new and interesting things. It feels like the country is undergoing a real upswing in the amount of people who are employed in tech. This could simply be my impression. Perhaps Sujay can explain.
India is thriving, especially in the information technology. Indians are in general very good with mathematics. They say zero was invented by India. So I have heard that. I'm not sure if it's true, but they say I have heard that a lot of times. So Indians in general are very good with mathematics. You can find really, really good programmers in India. Our education system is pretty solid. In general, you find really good developers, especially developers in India.
Being a global company means that you have to compete on a global stage. If you create something that gathers interest and customers, you can be sure that other similar products will come into existence quite soon. So, do Brainstorm Force concentrate upon their existing products, or are they always on the lookout for the next big thing?
Global competition is something that really affects all WordPress products. When you consider services, like there could be many jobs and there could be many freelancers, everyone can stay happy. The same case is with the products. Like people usually try to go with the best products which are proven, which are already used by other people. So global competition is something that most product, especially in the WordPress space, worry about. After global competition, GPL comes into the part as well, where we don't really own the code. We only own our community and our audience. So global competition is sometimes stressful, but the only way to keep ahead of it is with keeping ahead of the curve, staying cutting edge, building connection with your audience. We try not to develop many different products. So how we structure our company is each product has its own team, its own thinking mind, its own product lead. And I try to mentor the team lead and the other part of the team. Each team lead has his own freedom to think creatively how we can improve the product further. They get my help to improve the product further in deciding the directions. That's how we structure it. We do not launch a new product unless we see how we are going to scale it, how we are going to support it. We kind of operate like a corporation where there are multiple projects running parallelly and there are team leads and there are proper structures to take care of those projects.
Sujay has painted a very positive picture of the growth of his company. But we all know that a business rarely grows without some ups and downs along the way. I wanted to know more about this side of Sujay's experiences. Has it always been plain sailing, or have there been times of difficulty and anxiety?
Anxiety is a part of entrepreneurship, I think. Most of the entrepreneurs, freelancers get anxious or uncomfortable with many things. There are many things to take care of. Especially if you're a freelancer, you got to deal with almost all parts of the business, starting from design to coding to testing to communicating to accounting, and there are many different parts. So I try to allocate responsibilities of our business to different people. So for example, my co-founder is kind of our CFO, where he takes care of all financial things. I have other people who take care of certain things. So we have a CTO, we have other people who are taking care of different responsibilities. So that's how I try to divide the stress that was on me to other people. And I would recommend the same to other people as well. Have a co-founder, have really good teammates who will share your success as well as your burdens.
So in many parts of the world, people are just beginning to open up about mental health. It's starting to receive the kind of attention that it deserves. I was curious about whether or not the same was happening in India. Are people becoming more willing to talk about their own mental health?
It is absolutely difficult. I mean, no one talks about mental health at all in India. Part of that is because I believe India is a very social country where we are very well connected to other family members. We stay with our families, so it is not very common to find someone who's struggling with mental health because there is always someone in family and your friends to talk with. But there are many chances that you still struggle with few things that you cannot talk with others. And since it's not common, that kind of stuff, people don't really talk about it. I still don't see any change. People still don't talk about it yet. They just go on with it, which is pretty shameful.
When I was growing up, it was my desire, and the desire of many of my peers, to move away from our families, to spread my wings, if you like. I'm not suggesting that this was the case for all people, but it's certainly in contrast to what Sujay described. It feels like, where he lives, more people stay with their families and don't have that same wish to move away.
It's individual to individuals. I personally love my family. I'm a family person. I have a daughter, so I like to stay with my family. My parents are taking care of my wife and my daughter when I'm traveling for business, whenever I'm in office or something like that. So I personally believe it's a great arrangement, the family and the systems of India, the culture. But at the same time, my co-founder, he stays on his own. He doesn't stay with his family. He has grown up pretty much on his own all his life. So there are benefits to that as well. So there is no sudden answer to that. I just feel that there is a flexibility in Indian culture that you can stay with your family. And it's not a very uncommon thing like, hey, if the person is staying with the family, there is something wrong. So that's not the case in India, which is what I would be thankful for. And there are some things which are good with this kind of system and some things are bad. It's not just a positive thing. So for us, we stay in the same home, but we stay in different rooms. So everyone has their own private area. We cook together, we eat together, but you still have some freedom to do things on your own. So if you're able to balance it and manage it, it turns out really good. But I have seen some families who are staying together, but they are not happy. So it's again case to case.
It seems like there is a growing awareness in the workplace that mental health is a crucial component of a productive and happy workforce. More and more companies are putting procedures in place to deal with situations that might crop up. I wanted to know what Sujay does at his company to assist people with their mental health.
More than policies and procedures, I believe health and especially mental health is kind of emotional. You just got to understand your employees really well, develop a bond with them, communicate really well, understand what they are going through, what they feel, respect their ideas and respect their space. So we have a HR structure. We have HR who takes care of all the legal aspects and other procedural aspects. But I personally try to develop a bond with my team members. I try to understand their families, their different needs. Sometimes people travel or come to different cities for work. So try to help them in any way as possible. So that's on the bond level. When they start working with us, we try to treat all the team members as we would like to be treated. That's the kind of our value at Brainstorm. We do not stress or we do not pressure. We do not take deadlines too seriously. We believe that quality of life is important than other things that you worry about. So I always give an example to my team members that what we produce, if power goes out, nothing is going to matter at all. So what you code, your websites are not even visible when there is no power. So your life is more important than your work. So we try to prioritize our life. We try to have a really good time internally at Brainstorm. We go on tours together. We take trips together. We go on hiking together. A lot of fun weekends. We do a lot of get together where we invite each other's family for dinners and lunches. So that's how we try to develop bonds between our people, and so that they stick with us longer as well. Because if they feel connected to us, if they feel they are respected here and accepted here, they stay with us longer. So there is a little bit of selfish interest as well.
It sounds like Sujay regards his company a bit like it's a part of his family. Is that the case?
Yep, we do. So we call BSF family. BSF is acronym, silly acronym for Brainstorm Force. So we always call it BSF family. We try to remain as a family and treat each team member of ours as a family. I think Western world is private. They like to be respected their privacy, whereas that is not a huge case in India. People are not very private. They like to connect, and privacy is not a huge thing in India. So I think there are a bit of cultural differences, which is what it is. Privacy, by privacy, I don't mean online privacy. It's just, personal privacy. People wouldn't feel offended if someone comes and ask you certain things about your personal life. So whereas you have to be, from my experience, you have to be a little bit different when you're interacting in the Western world. There are many things that are different in Western world and in India. For example, eating. We like to eat with hands, whereas in Western world, it's not common at all. I have to be a little different when I'm in the Western world. So there is a little bit of thinking in most of the things you do. You live in UK, but I had recently hired a car in Germany where, driving sides are totally opposite. In India, we drive from the right side. But yeah, so many things are different. The way, the walking sides, the signs, and eating style and culture. So there are so many differences.
So times have been good. The company has grown and is thriving. And underpinning all of that is WordPress. I asked Sujay if he was feeling positive about the next 10 years working with WordPress.
WordPress is the only, like I said, I have been in a Joomla ecosystem. I have been in a Microsoft ecosystem because we were not a WordPress company in the beginning. I have been into many different places. But WordPress is the community that is very open, very warm. You can speak to anyone. You can connect to anyone. So for example, if you'd like to tweet to Matt Mullenweg, he might reply as well, which is not the case with other communities. So yeah, I absolutely enjoy being in the WordPress community. I feel proud to be a part of this community, and I see my foreseeable future in the WordPress community.
One of the purposes of the Press Forward podcast is to lift the lid on topics that don't get talked about often enough, to allow people to share their stories so that other people might listen, and by listening they may gain an understanding that they're not alone. There are other people out there who have faced the same situations that you are facing. They have found a way through and can offer support to you on your journey. Maybe that person is already in your life, but they might not be, and that's what WPMU is here for, to connect you with the support that you need. So, if you're able to, please help us so that we can continue to support the WordPress community. Donate at wpnup.org/donate. The Press Forward podcast is brought to you today by Geeks. Geeks offers a specially engineered platform that gives WordPress users web hosting that is designed to be the fastest, most secure and scalable hosting available in multiple data centers. Their WordPress hosting makes deploying and managing WordPress websites easy with automatic one-click install, managed updates, real-time security protection, SSD RAID 10 storage arrays, Power Cacher and expert help 24/7 to make for the best web hosting experience. And we thank Green Geeks for their support of the Press Forward podcast. That's it for this week. Please let us know if you're enjoying the podcast, if you're finding it useful and helpful. You can reach out to us at wpnup.org/contact. And there's a serious point to all of this, and that is that WPNUP is here to provide help and support. That help is available for you or the people that you know, and can be easily accessed at the wpnup.org website. Please spread the word about this new podcast. Tell your friends and subscribe on your favourite podcast player. And remember that together we can #PressForward.